With the continuing popularity and importance of circle hooks in the fishery today, it's important to also be sure and connect those optimally to your leader. A lot of people tie various knots, clinch knots, Palomar knots, all sorts of knots. Jeff Pierce with Mustad has found a snell that his testing has found to be far superior to any other knot to connect your circle hook. And he calls it the power snell, and in this short video Jeff's going to show us how that is tied.
Sure. The main advantage to this is a lot of times when we're like chunking tunas or stripers in that, and you have to go with a fairly large hook and you have to go to light leader, no matter how well your eye is closed on your circle hook, that line coming across here can stretch and cut, because if you're using 30-pound leader on a 10-aught circle, there's a little bit of a gap there. So there had to be a knot that would protect that and would act as a cushion so that you could hook a big fish, fight it on light leader, and be confident that you didn't stretch to the point where you broke it, and that was a big problem. This knot has solved that problem. So what we do is we take the leader and we go from the hook point side out, and now we're going to go through and do that again. So now I've gone through twice. Now here's the most important part. You have to make sure that your tag end, I'm right-handed, so this is the direction I tie it. So my tag end needs to be over on this side, so let me try and show that. So now I have nice straight. Here's my tag end, it's on the opposite side. The opposite side of the hook is where the return loop is and where it rejoins the shank. So this tag end, non-bearing load, is going to be my cushion. So it needs to be on the back side of you, and you have to make sure these are not twisted, otherwise the knot won't turn out right. So once I get it right, my tag doesn't need to be long, because then that's only obtrusive for me to work my way around. I've got a nice big loop here. I'm going to take my line, and the line on the loop here that runs the shank, along the shank, is going to stay along that. My line that's kind of parallel coming down is what's going to wrap around the shank. So now I'm simply just going to take my hand and put it inside, and I'm just going to start my wraps. You want to make sure you do them fairly tight, and you want to make sure you don't overlap them on each other. Just do them concentrically down the shank. So on a hook this size, this is about a 6/0, which is what we use in the Gulf for yellowfin. I'm going to do maybe 5 or 6 wraps. This is 80-pound line here. Once I get where I need to be, I've got enough wraps on here. Now I need to tighten this up first. And my dentist hates this, but I'm not biting hard. I'm going to pull just to get, there's a little bit of a loop here, and we need to make sure that loop gets snug. That's what's going to keep my line in the right position. Now you'll typically wet this to make sure it slides through nice. And now I'm going to keep tension on here with my finger, and I'm going to start to pull this line down. And and squeeze this the whole time so the wraps don't, especially heavy line like this, it wants to spring out, as you know. So now when I pull this down tight, and again, I'm not going to pull hard. Now I've got my tag end coming off. This is my non-load bearing line, and it's kind of hard to see, but what I'll do is I'll pull it out so you can see it. If I take this leader and I go back out the eye, just for sake here so people can see, if I pull this out, I have a cushion of line here that is non-load bearing. This is my tag end, so there's no pressure on this, and that's now closed any gap that was there. When we're fishing this, obviously this is going to be back through here the way it was when I tied the knot. Now that is sitting right on top of that other cushion, so no matter how hard I push, there's times where we're fishing a circle as large as this and we have to go to 30-pound. I don't care how well that eye is closed. 30-pound on a 2-pound fight on a big eye or a bluefin or whatever it may be, or a big redfish when you're having to use different leader in that, your line's stretching and eventually it could work its way in there. This eliminates that. The other nice thing, you're going to cut your tag, but it's important when you do it, you go from hook side out. Now, a lot of guys will want to snell on an up-eye hook. We've found, I fish sailfish tournaments, I do a lot of yellowfin in that, we found our hookup rate is much better snelling with a straight eye. And we get this point of the hook is canting up toward the leader, so when that fish grabs, it gets them every time. If you go and do it the other way, you get the reverse effect. And I've had people tell me we tried the power snell, it didn't work too well. They were going the wrong way, and then your leaders kick back this way. My guys in the Gulf that are fishing tuna all year long, this is the knot they use. It works really well for them. You do pull tests on it. It's very strong. And once you get the hang of it, it's easy to tie.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff. That should be a fairly easy knot that's going to improve a lot of hookup rates and catch rates for people. So
Absolutely.
we appreciate it.